Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for coming back by and checking out what I have going on. In this one, we're going to continue working on the Comanche, and we're going to address something that's pretty common with Jeep XJs and Jeep MJs, and it's something that can really leave you stranded. So let me show you what we have planned, and we'll get into it. So if you're familiar with Jeep XJs and Jeep Comanches, you know that the unibodies are not strong. They require a lot of modifications if you're going to be using them off-road frequently. So one modification that we're going to be addressing today is the door hinges. So the door hinges on Jeep XJs and Comanches are notorious for cracking and falling off. Then the whole door falls off and you're stranded. So we'll be addressing that. And also where the striker is here, it will start to tear and rip the unibody there as well. So if we go around to the driver's side, you can see that this one is already starting to rip off. So you can see there, it's not sturdy anymore. So we need to address that. And also both of these are kind of tweaked outwards. So we'll get the door put back on and get that straightened out before we reinforce everything. If you remember in the first video of the Comanche when I was getting ready to gut the interior, I decided to remove the doors just to give me easier access to the inside. So when I did that, I ran into the common problem of the door hinge bolts breaking off inside the doors. So the only way to fix this is to, one, build your own plates and thread them for inside the door, or go to your junkyard and find you some. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go on a quick field trip, go get us some plates for inside the doors. So the reason I want to get the doors put back on the Comanche is I want to make sure that they are sitting flat against the door sill. So we are going to have full doors for the winter for this, and I don't want any air leaks. So that's the main reason we're doing this. So when we weld these reinforcement plates on, we're not dealing with permanent gaps. So we're going to go do that real quick, and then we'll come back here to the garage and get to welding. All right, so we made it to our local graveyard, local pull and save. So before we can get the door hinge reinforcement plates all welded in, we need some door hinge retainer plates. So when I removed them on the Comanche, when I was removing the bolts that you see here, they broke inside the door. So we need to still some of these plates so we can get the doors all put back on before we weld those reinforcement plates on. So this is a 2000 Cherokee, I believe. So we'll be taking the parts that we need from this, and then we'll head back to the garage and get those reinforcement plates welded on. This is why I need to replace these. So that one's garbage now. All right, so I just finished up getting everything I need for the doors on the Comanche. So I just needed the plates inside the door that mount to the hinges. So I grabbed those. I also picked up some door handles for an upcoming project. So I'm planning on building half doors for the Comanche. So I found the perfect door handles for the inside. Here are the handles that I was talking about. These are the inside door handles on this 2000 Cherokee. So these will work perfect in the half doors for the inside. And then here are all the plates to mount the doors. These plates can be such a pain in the butt. On that driver's side, the bottom one broke one of the bolts. So you just have to try all the doors, find the ones that you need. But here's the full set. So we'll take these home and we'll get to installing those reinforcement plates for the hinges on the Comanche. Now that we're back in the garage, I want to start prepping the doors to go back on the Comanche. I'm going to strip them all down, remove everything that's inside of them. These doors are going to be the half doors. I already started on the driver's door a few weeks ago. I ended up helping a buddy out and selling him a window that I had. Anyways, so we'll get to stripping this one down here in just a minute and installing the new hinge plates that we picked up at the junkyard. But before we do that, I want to show you the hinge reinforcement plates that I purchased. So these are from a local company here in the United States called T&M Metal Fabrication. I went with them because of their price point and they have good quality parts. I went ahead and I set the ones up here on the passenger side so I could kind of see how they're going to fit. And it looks like they're going to fit pretty well. I'll probably end up doing some modifications to them. There are some curves in the unibody that the plates don't conform to quite yet, but we'll get to that when we after we get the doors all installed. Anyways, let's tear this door down and we'll get them put back on the Comanche. One more thing real quick before we get started on tearing down this door and installing it back on the Comanche. I really want to thank you guys for coming by and checking out what I have going on. If you've been here on the channel before, thank you so much for coming back. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment down below what you think about the channel. I would love to hear from you guys. I'm really active in the comments, so I don't mind chatting or talking about anything you have going on. The new subscriber goal is 1,000, so help me get to that, and I'm going to keep cranking out the videos. I'll try and get more consistent on my weekly uploads as well. Anyways, let's get to tearing down this door and put it back on the truck. All right, so the passenger door is fully installed and adjusted, but I do have a confession to make. That was about 3 weeks ago when I last filmed that. I've had a ton of stuff going on. I'm going to be moving. I've had other things that have happened with work and whatnot that just have taken a lot of time. So I'm just now getting back to filming some more content on the Comanche. But during that 3-week time, I was able to sneak in time to do the door hinge reinforcements on the driver's side. So I'm gonna turn the camera around here and walk you through what I did step by step, and then we're gonna repeat that process here on the passenger side. So let's get into it. So when it comes down to the content that's on my channel, welding and fabricating is a new skill to me. I've been really trying to take my time and refine my welding skills and learn how to set up my welder to weld whatever material I'm welding. And one thing that is definitely challenging is welding some thicker metal to this thin unibody on the Comanche. It is not easy. I've been doing a lot of research on how to dial in my welder to work with me instead of against me. So that is something that I've really been trying to focus here on these door hinges. As you can see, some of my welds look pretty good, some of them don't. Definitely not the prettiest, but I have some ideas on how to make the passenger side look even better. So I'll tell you what those are when we get to it. So assuming that you already know how to weld and you have your welder all set up and dialed in, let's go over what it takes to get these reinforcement plates installed and welded in. So first up, you definitely need to remove your front fender. The reinforcement plates go over this tab here, and this tab is where one of the bolts go through into the front fender. So once that front fender is removed, you'll be able to get these plates all installed and mocked up, and then assess if you need to modify them in any way. So I ended up modifying mine. I trimmed them up, made them a little bit smaller, and then where the factory welds are for these hinges, I ended up grinding down the inside of the reinforcement plate so it would kind of go over those welds. Otherwise, you'll end up having a huge gap that you're gonna have to fill. So you want those reinforcement plates to lay down as flat as possible. But anyways, so once you get those all trimmed up how they need to be and cleaned up, make sure to use some weld through primer. Between the reinforcement plate and the body, you don't want any rust building up there. So a good layer of paint is definitely important. And then once you get that, you can start welding in everything, assuming that your door is fully adjusted and sitting flat against the door sill. But anyways, yeah, that's what it takes to get these plates installed. It's really hard to get to this inside seam for these reinforcement plates with the door installed. So I ended up removing the door again and welding this inside area here. There might be some room in there with the door fully open, but because I'm so close to the wall here in my garage, there was no way for me to fully open the door. So we'll check it out on the passenger side when we get to it, but removing the door might be necessary in order to get this inside area welded. So I also got the striker reinforcement plates all welded in. Apparently the unibody can tear in this area, so I went ahead and welded these in. It is nice to know that I have that extra protection here in this area. Okay, so now it's time to use everything that we learned on the driver's side and put it to use here on the passenger side and get these reinforcement plates fully installed. So what needs to happen is we need to clean up all the areas where we will be welding, get that down to nice shiny bare metal. I'm also going to be modifying those reinforcement plates to better suit the Comanche and to weld on easier. And then we'll get those welded on. It shouldn't take very long. And this will be a good example of what you'll run into on your vehicle if you are installing these as a preventative repair to not have your door hinges rip off in the future. So let's get right into it, and we'll see how it all turns out. Okay, so I finally got everything fully prepped for the hinge reinforcement plates here on the passenger side. It really doesn't take too long to do it, but it's really important that you remove all of the paint where you're going to be welding, clean it up all really nice. There is a ton of this seam sealer everywhere. It's really important to get all of that off. It is super flammable and it smokes a lot. So you want to remove all of that before you start welding. And then I always lay down some weld through primer. But now it's time to get the welder set up and start welding all of this in. Oh, one more thing before I forget. So I ended up removing the door. I wasn't sure with the door fully open if you were going to be able to get to this inside edge of the plate here, but it's not going to be possible. There's really not any clearance there for you to get your welder in there. So like I said before, definitely remove that front fender and then remove the door as well. It'll give you all the space that you need to weld these on, and your welds will look a lot better. Anyways, let's get the welder set up and we'll start burning this in. One issue I was having while welding the plates on the driver's side is my voltage wasn't high enough. So I was having an issue with the welds kind of building up as I was going around. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the voltage up a little bit this time. We need to get those welds to lay down a little bit flatter and be just a little bit wider so we're not just building up that weld constantly. And then I think it'll look really good. So I'm still new to welding and I'm trying not to mess this up too bad, but I'm bringing you guys along for the journey. So let's get the camera set up and we'll start welding. I'm so happy with how this side turned out. So adjusting the voltage on the welder made a huge difference in the quality of the welds. These welds are beautiful. This is the best I've done so far when welding to this thin unibody material. I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm excited to get to welding on those frame stiffeners. This has been a lot of good practice for me for getting to those. So next up, now that these are fully welded on, is to clean them up and paint the area. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Thank you for coming by and checking out what I have going on. It's been awesome working on the Comanche and getting these door hinge reinforcements installed. It's definitely something off the list, and then we can move on to the next thing. So there's gonna be a little bit of a break on the Comanche stuff. I'm gonna be moving to a new house, so we'll be moving and dealing with all that stuff. So there will be a little bit of a break from this. I do have some Jeep XJ content coming up. I have some upgrades that I'm excited to install. So there will be a couple videos on the XJ coming up. So definitely stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for coming by. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. If I'm super active in the comments, so I'll definitely see you there. Anyways, get out there in your garages, work on your projects, and don't forget to stay safe out there. We'll catch you next time.